This is Topatory, the place where we look at Minecraft mods and features. Hello everyone and welcome to Rituals of the Wild. This is a witchcraft mod that, let's just say, has a lot of unique features. It contains cauldrons, rune stones, and all of the typical witchcraft stuff that you would ever want in your Minecraft game. The first thing we have here is a cauldron. Now, the cauldron is a really important thing within witchcraft in general. But this right here, you can do some crazy things with it. To make the cauldron, you gotta get yourself amethyst powder, more on that later, heavy weighted pressure plates, and iron ingots in this formation. And you can use just enough items to take a look at the recipes. So you have zombified piglin, you have emerald geode, you have yourself white crystal shards, and you have inscribing quill. There's also some things right here, needed a full moon, only items needed. So there's actual requirements listed on the alchemy cauldron that tells you what you would need to do in order to make it work. So you have some water alchemy bottles, which can be made by using the glass in this formation and then a little wood kind of plug up together. And then of course the typical Minecraft way of there's a lot of water over this way. Just right click with the water and you get yourself a water alchemy bottle. And you can also get a lava alchemy bottle and put these stuff within the cauldron as well. However, the main difference right now, to my knowledge, is that if you use lava, if you try to get the materials out using a spoon, which you can use the spoon to take out the materials from the cauldron if you don't need it. And if there's lava in the cauldron, the materials will just get destroyed because there's lava and the lava will just destroy the materials. As soon as you get a spoon, you can say, wait, no, I don't want feathers floating around. Get that out of here. And now you have your feathers back in your inventory. Okay, right now it is a full moon, so let's try out some of the recipes. Only 2 of them require a full moon. There is the white crystal shard, which requires 4 white dye and then 4 either granite, andesite, or stone. With the emerald geode, it's basically just replacing the white dye with the black dye instead. For a lot of recipes to work, you need amethyst powder to right click on them, such as rituals and the cauldron. And to get amethyst powder, you need to take a hammer and 2 amethyst shards in the crafting menu, and then you get amethyst powder. Wooden hammer is a very simple recipe with 2 sticks, 5 planks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, amethyst powder. Make sure there's no water in there, and then you got yourself an emerald geode. We'll see what we can do with that in a little bit. Now, you had yourself the white dye, 4 white, 4 stone, amethyst powder. There you go. You got yourself a white crystal shard. And that's basically as simple as the recipes can get. But we're going to go into some of the more complicated ones, and we're going to revisit this when we get some more knowledge on how to make the runes and such for the zombified piglins. And if you're wondering, yes, the order of the items do in fact matter. As the ritual that I've just created, I added in the iron first and then the feathers second, and it does not work. This is for the inscribing quill, by the way. You have to actually do it as feathers first and then the iron. Up next is the catalyst grinder. Now the catalyst grinder is crafted this way with crimson planks, iron ingot, and a diamond. And we can grind down a couple of things, such as an ender pearl and also that geode. First off, we're gonna grind down this geode, and then we get ourselves a umbral crystal. Now, we're also going to grind down this ender pearl, and we get ourselves a ender catalyst. Now, these are used in several things, such as a lunar sap ink bottle. Amethyst powder is here, along with moon petals. Moon petals are made through specific rituals. You may find scrolls containing them and all that stuff. More on that later, the scroll stuff. You also have stabilizing powder. Stabilizing powder is a recipe made out of bones, ink sacs, amethyst shards, and amethyst powder. And it's used in a lot of recipes, such as this one right here. Honey stones is an interesting thing as well. And an empty ink bottle is made with 4 glass and a slab in this order. We got ourselves a couple of other things here, such as mortar and pestle. The mortar and pestle, it's made out of cobblestone. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And the mortar is also kind of used to grind down things as well. So here we have a mortar and pestle. And if I take a look at the recipes that this thing makes, it turns a lot of the stuff like the white crystal shard, along with cryonite, gems, netherrack, and a bunch of other things down into like a shard form. The color catalyst is also a nice thing that we need to come over as well. The cryonite gems is just simply ice. It doesn't seem to have a use as of right now, but it's another item that's going to have a couple of uses in the future. There's netherrack dust for a ember ink bottle, which requires a lava alchemy bottle instead. Once again, white crystal dust doesn't really have much of a use, but it is going to be a key material for future projects. And yeah, overall, you just get a lot of cool things. So you just right click and you get yourself some shards. Up next, we have the Distillation Flask, which requires tinted glass or glass and rope. This right here allows you to make color catalysts. The way that you place this is actually by hanging said rope. This is how you make rope. You use wheat, vines, or a couple of the dried items as well to make 8 ropes. So you actually get a lot of rope for this. And of course, you can climb said rope. And let's get that distillation flask. So you get yourself some blue ice. And the blue ice has to be right below the dye in order to turn it into this lovely little color catalyst. And at the moment, that's the only distillation recipe that they have. Of course, like I said, there's going to be some more recipes in the future. Up next, we have the Fume Extractor, and the Fume Extractor requires 2 weighted pressure plates, heavy weighted pressure plates, excuse me, and iron ingots in that pattern. Basically, you get yourself like a flower, let me borrow you, and then you put it in. And you need a fume bottle to actually capture the fumes from it. And to make a fume bottle, you need glass in this pattern and then a piece of wood right there. So over time, it will take the fumes from said thing. And now I have poppy fumes. And I believe there's only 3 kinds of fumes. There's the poppy one, the dandelion one, and the cornflower one. You can store them in a jar. There's a small jar, a medium jar, and a tall jar. That's what they all look like. They're really nice storage things. And of course, you can just like shove a bunch of one item inside there. So like, you know, or, you know, mix and match, of course, if you're crazy like that. And to make them, it's as simple as glass with the slab on top. And I believe the way to make each one is basically just depending on how much glass and slab you'd use. One really important thing with these jars is that in some rituals, they do require a candle within the jar. So you just put a candle inside the jar. And this might be required for some rituals that you would find around the world. More on that in the video. On to the drying rack and the glass enhanced drying rack. What it does is that it basically takes a item, and by an item I mean one of these lovely little plants within the mod. So for example, the dream vine, which can be found within the root forest. This right here is a plant that grows within the crimson biomes along with ethereal grass. You have ember leafberry that can be found within deserts. You also have sunseer, which found in the desert. Thorn bloom, you can be found in the swamps. So this is an example of dream vine right here. Dream vine is just like this little plants that you just happen to run across right here. This is when it looks like when it's just not ready, and then all of a sudden, you know, eventually it'll just turn ready. And there's also a hanging variant of each one, which can be made by just tying 4 of them in a rope, and then you got tied dream vine. And that is what it looks like, just tied together on the side of a tree. And this can be used for rituals along with other things as well. There's a lot of plants in this mod, but they're typically found within the crimson biome, the swamp, the desert, and the forest. So the difference between this and this is that this is 1.5 times faster at drying. There are also 2 non-plant related items, the aether blob and the honeycomb, which can be both dried as well. The honeycomb turns into a honey stone, and the aether blob turns into an aether crystallized, and the aether blob can be obtained by a certain ritual. On to the next thing, we have the Rune Scribing Table. Rune Scribing Table, this is where you'll make a bunch of runes. This is the recipe for the Rune Scribing Table. It is a paper, an empty ink bottle, 4 planks, and a red wool. There are a bunch of these blank runes. To make the wood rune, it's emeralds and then wood. The stone rune, it's any kind of stone, specifically cobbled version of the stone, and the 2 emeralds. To make the clay rune, same story, but with clay, and then you have to heat it. And then the netherrack rune, same story, but with netherrack. So the way to make these runes is that you need a scribe and a hammer. The scribe is made through 2 iron and 2 sticks, and the hammer is the same as before, 2 sticks, 5 planks. And you can make a bunch of different runes. And we actually got our first dried item. So as you can see, I actually placed these two down first, and this one dried faster. This one should be next. There we go. All right, I might as well show you the straw hats. Very basic item. Ooh, they actually finished as well. Look at that. The straw hats is a basic item that you can make with hay and wheat. You can right click with an amethyst powder to summon a Domovoi, and you get yourself a little friend. This right here is a empty vial which can be made via 5 glass and then a little slab on top. We also need ourselves a bone needle. The bone needle is made through 2 bones. So you put the vial in the offhand, you take your bone needle and you stab yourself. So this is a vial of blood. Now you might notice that the durability on it is kind of like going down, and that's because it's going to expire. All right, so let's go exploring, and oh my goodness, there's a pink sheep. I hate Minecraft. It's only when I'm doing these videos that I find a pink sheep. Anyways, this is an alchemist tower. So we're gonna go up to the very top of this tower right here. There's a couple of these little distillery bottle things right around here, but you also basically have like the necessary equipment for doing your ritual stuff here. And you can find these around your place, your world, your entire area. However, the more useful buildings are these ruins here, and the reason for that is the loot that they give. We find ourselves with a couple of chests, and the chests will contain a couple of items, but the most important thing is a ritual scroll. If you right click on it, congratulations, you have just learned your first ritual. This will give you the ritual pattern along with the requirements for the ritual to work, and it will even tell you the outcome of the ritual depending on what ritual you have obtained. And by the way, one quick thing when you're making the ritual is when you're taking a look at this right here, you notice that there's like a little gap here. That gap is actually intentional because you're not supposed to place the rune like right in front of it. You have to give it like its little space, like so. That's how it's supposed to be set up. There is supposed to be a gap around here. This ritual is a little interesting. Basically what this does is that if there's enough animals around the area, they will do their thing. And by thing, I mean amethyst. Guys, can you please stop running away from the runes? Bam. Yeah, they breed. Let's go into some of the little bit more difficult rituals and basically how they work. So a lot of them have like this weird thing where it's like you need to have this eldritch jeer, moonlight jeer. What is exactly a jeer, or all those different letters and such? That is where the ink comes into play. Okay, this requires it to be raining and requires ash fetch and ash jeers. So let's get ourselves a ash ink bottle and then a ash, specifically an ash ink dripped in Scribing quill, which basically you just take it in the Scribing quill and then you have the ink bottle. Actually, I'm going to do that right now just to show you. So you right click with the thing and you get yourself a ash ink dipped in Scribing quill. So we're going to unequip this. We have 5 uses of this, and I believe this loses durability, but it will just go back to the regular inscribing quill and then have to re-dip afterwards. So this right here is a fetch. This right here is a jeer. So now we go 1, 2, 3, because we need to leave 1 space. So it's over here. We have to make a fetch here. So 2 spaces. I think the orientation does in fact matter. So I'm just going to do that just in case. Yeah, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, here, and here. And then it needs to be raining. Amethyst. Bam. What does that ritual do? It is a rain dancing ritual. Very useful, I know. So some of these ink bottles can be made directly using what we already know, which is obviously the stabilizing powder along with whatever netherrack does. For example, we know that from the Mortar And Pestle, and that's how you get the ember ink bottle along with like the frost ink bottle. It's very simple. So you can make some of this through the recipes here. However, there are some that requires like a specific ritual in order to make, and really just have fun with it because there's just a lot of things within this mod that you can just like figure out through just learning it. And I'm just showing you a general idea as to what you can expect within this mod. There's a lot of rituals and a lot of them are really, really fun. And yeah, I mean, you can just like take a look at the rituals yourself and figure out what the rituals do Some of them crafts items, some of them does some weird effects, and it is a really fun mod overall. In terms of like ritual summonings, I did promise that I would show you the Piglin thing, the zombie Piglin thing. So basically, I'll just do that real quick. So I first need void roots. So void roots, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we need copper. Aside from the runes, which we need to get here. So we need an M rune and a C rune. Okay, so I have everything set up here. One thing I didn't show you guys was in order to scribe the cauldron, let me actually get another cauldron. Never mind, it's already in the ritual, so I can't place it down. In order to scribe a cauldron, you have to get the rune scraper in one hand and the wood hammer in the other hand, and then shift right click, and then you get yourself a scribed cauldron. So now, let me get a bunch of pigs around here, and then we're gonna get yourself amethyst powder. Bam! I love this mod. This mod is really cool. Just the concept that it's spaced around is so simple, yet I love it. It's a very, very cool mod. Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, like, want to subscribe and unsubscribe, go ahead and check out this mod. It is a really cool mod. I have not shown you all the rituals because that is something that you guys got to figure out yourself, because I just showed you the tools. The rest is just up to you. Go out there and discover the rituals that I did not showcase within this video. And it's as simple as inscribing said ink with the said runes in the set pattern, and it just so happens to just happen. And it'll also tell you what to do within the question marks. For example, what the spell would do if this and this happens. So just go out there and have fun with finding out the rituals and doing them yourself. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and goodbye.